This is a very special day and a highlight, absolute highlight of annual convention. And an incredibly special day for Jon Stewart and his family as he becomes the next president of the Florida Bar. I hope you all enjoyed the slideshow of our voluntary bars. We have over 250 voluntary bars across our state that are very vibrant. They're the backbone of our bar. And thank you to Jeff Doran, staff, and voluntary bar liaison for coordinating all of the photographs from all of our voluntary bars about all of the wonderful things that they do every single day. So it is really amazing that this year has gone by so very fast. And again, as I said, this has been very special. This is an unconventional convention. And I'd first like to call up to start us out, Juliet Rolak to give us the invocation this morning.
Thank you so much, President Saskauer. If you could all rise with me as we stand and bring in this morning blessings for this General Assembly together. Heavenly Father, as we gather together at this auspicious occasion, our General Assembly, we solemnly acknowledge your greatness and your benevolence as we celebrate and support our incoming Florida Bar President. We come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support of our new bar president and bar leaders as they begin their tenure for the upcoming bar year. Our leaders seek to represent fairly and well those whom they serve. May their efforts be prolific and their results significant. Help our leaders to meaningfully engage our Board of Governors and our members. Allow the board and its leadership to grow even closer as a group to work in solidarity with unified vision and purpose for the betterment of all circuits, all lawyers in our great state. Lord, when our governors and bar leaders meet throughout our state to conduct matters of business, guide our hearts and our minds in the spirit of fairness, sound judgment, and thoughtful speech. We beckon you in your omnipresence, omniscience, and omnipotence to impart supreme wisdom upon all our activities so that our mission and vision for the bar, our board, sections, and committees may reach a successful conclusion. We seek plentiful blessings on the tasks before our incoming president. Please bless all his efforts with energy, his deliberations with thoughtfulness, and his decisions with clarity. Continue to remind us that all we do here today and tomorrow, all that we accomplish, is for the pursuit of excellence, for the greater glory of you, and for service to our fellow humanity. Thank you for listening to our supplication, and we ask these things hearteningly, hopefully, and humbly in your holy name. Amen. Thank you.
It is my pleasure to call up Mary Claire Stewart for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job. You may be seated. So of course, like every year, we have lost members of the Florida Bar who have passed since the last annual convention. Their names are listed in your program. Some you know, some you don't. And if we could, please have a moment of silence for all of these members who have passed. Thank you. I'd now like to introduce this incredible head table. So from my left, as you just heard, Juliet Rolak, who gave our invocation, our beautiful invocation. Past President May Ann Downs, who is going to be introducing our incoming president. Chief Justice Charles Kennedy from the Florida Supreme Court. Of course, our incoming president, Jon Stewart. To my right, Dory Foster Morales, who will become president-elect. Catherine Hurst Miller, who is our annual convention chair. And our beloved executive director, Josh Doyle. Let's give them all a wonderful round of applause. We are so happy to have our Florida Supreme Court with us. And so if we could acknowledge and ask them to stand, thank you so much, justices, for being with us today. We have an incredible group of past presidents of the Florida Bar, and I am very excited to become one of them in a very short period of time. If I could ask our past presidents to please stand so we can all thank you for your service to the bar. I'd like to recognize again, who I just introduced, Catherine Hurst Miller. Catherine has done an incredible job at leading the annual convention committee, putting the annual convention together. I hope that you've been enjoying all of the seminars, the CLEs, all of the events, and I know tonight she's excited to greet all of you at the President's reception tonight. Bright Lights, Big City. Catherine is a past president of the Young Lawyers Division. She's from the 7th Circuit, and she deserves an incredible round of applause. Catherine, thank you so much. As president, I have the honor of presenting awards to a variety of different folks. And I'm so fortunate to work with such an exceptional Board of Governors who volunteer hundreds of hours each year to improve our bar. And so it's tough to make that decision as to who to highlight, but there are just a few that I want to do this morning for their extraordinary contributions. This year, I'm giving 4 President Awards of Merit. So the first President Award of Merit is presented to Wayne LaRue Smith. Wayne, please join me on the dais.
Wow.
Let me tell you a little bit about Wayne. Wayne served as Disciplinary Procedures Committee Chair. He was elected to the Executive Committee. And this award recognizes Wayne's dedication and service to the Florida Bar and the Florida Lawyers Assistants for his devotion to the legal profession and the clients we serve. This year, Wayne shared his personal story which was both inspiring and empowering with our board, as well as on video as part of the Stigma-Free YLD project. And it helped reduce the stigma of having issues, having problems, and seeking help and succeeding. Wayne is simply an amazing person who has impacted the lives of so many. Plus, he's also been a foster parent to 33 children. Wayne, congratulations.
Thanks. Love you.
Love you. Oops. The second President's Award is presented to Scott Westheimer. Scott, please come up to the dais. Scott has served as two terms as chair of the Board of Governors Communications Committee and on the Executive Committee. This award is given to Scott in grateful recognition of his diligent efforts and many contributions to communicate to Florida Bar members. We have so many programs and services to enhance our members' personal and professional lives, and Scott made sure that we promoted those in every way possible. He made himself available anytime, day or night, and trust me, I called on him. I said, Scott, I need you to review something, and when do you need it? In 5 minutes. To review PowerPoints, speeches, scripts, president's pages, statements, and more to make sure we were communicating as effectively as possible. Scott is a superstar on the board, passionate, cares deeply for our profession and for our members. Scott, congratulations. The next President's Award is for Larry Tyree. Larry, please join me on the stage. Not only has Larry given so much of his time to our profession as a public member of our Board of Governors for the past 4 years, he's also spent this year as chair of our Citizens Advisory Committee. Under Larry's leadership, our important citizen volunteers focused this year on a new project I assigned to educate and involve more non-lawyer Floridians in the work of the legal and justice systems. With Larry's experience and perspective as the leader of 11 community colleges, his perspective is always so critical in our discussions and deliberations. In addition to that, he served our profession as a member of the 16th and 6th Circuit Judicial Nominating Commissions and on the Citizens Advisory Committee before applying and being appointed by the Florida Supreme Court as one of our 2 non-lawyer members of our board. He finishes his term at this meeting. Larry, the board and I will miss you so much. Congratulations. Congratulations. Finally, the final past President's Award is for Zach Zerowest. Zach, please come up. Zach has a fan club. This award is for Zach's many contributions to the Florida Bar and the Young Lawyers Division, especially for organizing and producing the Legal Fuel Speaker Series to help our members improve their knowledge and skills. Zach is a past president of the YLD. That's why he got such a shout out. And he was so exceptional in this leadership role, I didn't want to let him go. So I voluntold him to take on this tremendous project. The Legal Fuel Speaker Series was conceived as a rare opportunity for many of our members as possible to hear from well-known speakers sharing their experiences. So Zach helped produce and organize 8 videos that we released this year, and it's provided more than 8,600 free CLE hours, and they're still available online. Zach, I know this wasn't easy. You've done such a great job with this program. Thank you so much. Congratulations. It's now a great pleasure to present the G. Kirk Haas Humanitarian Award. Kirk Haas was a member of the Florida Bar who practiced law in Miami until his untimely death in 1987. He was recognized by many for his humanity and legal ethics, as well as his skill and his professionalism. This award was established in 1998 by then Bar President Edward Blumberg to recognize a Florida Bar member for his or her meritorious service to our profession. The award recipient selects a Florida law school, and a scholarship is awarded to a student who demonstrates an exceptionally high degree of integrity, ethics, professionalism, and a concern for others. My selection for the Kirk Haas Award is Catherine Fernandez Rundle, Miami-Dade State Attorney. Catherine, please come up and join me. Catherine was appointed state attorney for Miami-Dade County in 1993 and has been reelected 7 times. She is recognized as a pioneer in the creation of numerous programs dealing with issues that affect our community daily, such as teen truancy, domestic violence, gun violence, child support, human trafficking, and victims' rights. Catherine is an innovator for groundbreaking accomplishments, including launching the first DNA-based case review conviction integrity unit in 2003. She believes in sharing her time, her influence, and her resources with her community. She's been appointed to the statewide Human Trafficking Council, the ABA's Criminal Justice Council. She's a member of Prosecutors Against Gun Violence, a national group formed to address the issue of gun violence in the United States, and received countless awards. So let me read the plaque to you. The G. Kirk Haas Humanitarian Award, presented to Catherine Fernandez Rundle, Miami-Dade State Attorney. This award recognizes the unique human qualities that we all strive to attain, but very few achieve. These include an abiding respect and caring for others, coupled with the ongoing demonstration of actual deeds of legal services with no reward beyond that of the deed itself. Catherine Fernandez Rundle is one of those rare individuals who possesses these special qualities, and by this award, she is so honored. Congratulations. See, this is the fun part because we get to recognize some really wonderful, incredible people. So the next award is the Marshall Cassidy Senior Award. It was established in 2012, and it honors and recognizes the legacy and attributes of Mr. Cassidy, who served as executive director of the Florida Bar from 61 to 80. After his death in 2011, a special committee convened to create this award to honor him for extraordinary service to the Florida Bar or a local bar. My selection for the 2016 Marshall Cassidy Senior Award is Tom Miller. Program Director. Christian and Santo, come on up. Tom is the program administrator from the Young Lawyers Division, just in case you were confused. Tom was nominated for his thoughtful, consistent, and strategic leadership for the past 11 years by the entire Young Lawyers Division Board and by all of the past presidents that he worked with. YLD President Christian George said that during Tom's tenure, he has helped organize and drive the YLD to become what is widely considered the workhorse of the Florida Bar. 4 programs especially reflect Tom's contributions. First, the basic skills courses, which are now an online format. Next, the Practicing with Professionalism course that Tom oversees in locations around our state. Third, coordinating the annual Affiliate Outreach Conference, which inspires hundreds of lawyers to provide pro bono and community service. And finally, the Disaster Relief Hotline, a joint project with the ABA and FEMA. Other great work Tom oversees are health and wellness initiatives, tech-based programs, and the many technology roadshows presented around the state. Tom has been called the heart and soul of the division. He keeps them in line. And Tom, thank you for all you do for the Young Lawyers Division and the Florida Bar. Congratulations. As you can see and hear, he is beloved. The next award is the Tony Boggs Award for Excellence in Discipline. The Tony Boggs Award is given by the president to recognize dedication, integrity, intellectual excellence, and extraordinary work in and on behalf of lawyer discipline efforts of the Florida Bar. Now, this award is not given every year, but for me, there was no question that this year's recipient would be John Barry. John, unfortunately, could not be here. He is under the weather, he's ill. But I want to tell you a little bit about John to make sure that you understand how important he is to me and to the Florida Bar. John has served as Legal Division Director and Staff Counsel for the Florida Bar, overseeing lawyer regulation for almost 28 years. He has contributed so much to the Florida Bar, and he's also been a national leader for the profession, including serving as the ABA delegate and in many official positions with the National Organization of Bar Council. He's retiring on July 1st after spending his entire career in service and profession to the clients we serve. John holds a very special place in my heart, as he was one of the first staff members I met 9 years ago. He takes the time to help each new board member understand lawyer regulation. So I want to publicly thank John for all he's done for the bar and for being such a special friend, and we will personally give him this award. So let's give him a round of applause. And finally, as a former government lawyer, it is my pleasure to present the Claude Pepper Outstanding Government Lawyer Award. The president of the Florida Bar presents this award on behalf of the government lawyer section. This year, the recipient is Robert S. Cohen. Bob, please come and join me on the dais. After more than 20 distinguished years in private practice, Bob dedicated his experience and skills to public service when he was appointed in 2003 as the Director and Chief Judge of the Division of Administrative Hearings, which includes the Office of Judges of Compensation Claims. Bob currently serves as chair-elect of the National Conference of Administrative Law Judiciary, is a past president of the National Association of Administrative Law Judiciary, and is treasurer of the National Association of Workers' Compensation Judiciary. Bob is board certified in state and federal government and administrative practice. He's married to attorney Karen Asher Cohen, has 2 grown children and 2 grandchildren. Bob, congratulations. You're so welcome. Okay. Oh, well, I think it's my time to stop giving awards. That was a lot of awards, but a lot of very, very deserving folks. People thrive on genuine connections. One of my great passions when it comes to bar work is getting people together. Over the past 12 months, I've met thousands of our members, public interest lawyers and solo practitioners, managing partners, government attorneys, and members of our bench. I visited countless legal communities, large and small, around our state: Okaloosa, Brevard, Miami, Lee, Bradenton, and so many more. Traveling the state, I saw that there was a disconnect between our bar and our members. This was both a challenge and an opportunity. How can we do better? How can we help our members connect with the bar? As a small firm lawyer, my background and experiences led me to focus on 2 very important things: practice management, assistance, and health and wellness. Now, it's not easy practicing law, we all know that. I know that many of our community are struggling every day to bring in business, deal with increased competition, balance family life and bar service, to keep the lights on. We've provided tools to help alleviate some of the daily pressures our members face and provided ways to become more productive and profitable. As you've heard me speak about before, just since last summer, we rolled out Legal Fuel, the practice resource center of the Florida Bar. It has had more than 1 million visits to its webpage, and its podcasts were heard over 75,000 times. 1,300 interactions with members occurred by phone, chat, or email. So we're connecting. We also started the Legal Fuel Speaker Series, featuring well-known and respected Florida lawyers sharing their experiences on timely topics like cybersecurity and starting your law firm and building a gold reputation and more. Going hand in hand with practice management assistants, your bar continued to focus on mental health and wellness programs, and those were expanded this year. I was especially proud to support the important work of the Young Lawyers Division as they increased both awareness and resources for all of our members to live happy and healthy lives, sharing personal stories of lawyers who faced serious issues, but who sought help and recovered. The stigma-free YLD program was unprecedented and so well received by thousands of members who watched videos. Our communities, sections, and voluntary bars also helped lead this initiative all over our state, with wellness challenges and events with guest speakers, and yes, even doing goat yoga. When I was preparing for my year as president, I learned that the Florida Bar had never taken a hard look at the criminal justice system. As a former public defender and criminal defense attorney, I have worked within the criminal justice system my entire career. So criminal justice reform was an important priority. We worked on this important issue by making connections. We assembled a diverse group of stakeholders, elected state attorneys and elected public defenders, judges, legislators, and practitioners who came together to provide insights and collaborate on issues like conviction integrity, mental health, sentencing, juvenile direct file, and more. I am proud to say that our first ever two-day criminal justice summit was a great success. Thank you so much to past President Hank Cox, who chaired this very important effort and had to deal with my phone calls daily. This event provided a forum to connect all three branches of government, as well as criminal justice advocates, to focus on meaningful reforms. And our efforts didn't stop there. The momentum continued with more collaboration and cooperation. And in the 2019 session, a criminal justice reform bill passed. I was so thrilled that the Florida Bar had a seat at the table for these discussions and will continue to assist those who make changes with resources and expertise. And for the first time, we brought together Florida's elected public defenders and elected state attorneys to collaborate on issues, an important connection. And they continue to do that today. I want to thank the Florida legislature, especially Senator Jeff Brandes, for his involvement in the summit and his leadership on criminal justice reform. I look forward to continuing this work through a new special committee blessed by our soon-to-be president, Jon Stewart, set to begin work immediately. And today, the Florida Bar released the final report on the summit, authored by Stetson University law professor Ellen Podgore. This comprehensive report details the meaningful discussions by all the participants and chronicles next steps to take criminal justice reform to the next level. Another priority this year was to raise awareness on how far we've come in gender equality and to encourage greater inclusion. We have had the largest number of women serving on the Board of Governors this year, and 52% of my appointments to Florida Bar committees in leadership positions were women. And now, the Florida Bar Board of Governors has more women serving, and we have the largest percentage of women on the bench than ever before. I know that women need to support other women. Men need to support women, and women need to see other women lead and succeed. It has been my privilege to lift and inspire others and make sure the door to leadership is opened for many more women to walk through. And they are walking through. And throughout the year, we didn't stop making those important connections. We stepped up communications and re-energized our social media outreach. We streamlined our publications and increased our digital presence. We worked hard to make connections with key legislators to build relationships and increase their support of funding and other matters affecting our branch. We worked closely with the Supreme Court and welcomed 3 new members during this exciting time. And I also appointed a liaison from the county and circuit judges' conferences to the Board of Governors to improve communications. We met with the governor's office and his new administration to continue to build our strong relationship with the executive branch. Your bar leaders have worked very hard this year to deal with head-on important issues and to bring our community together to help others better ourselves and to support our justice system. So many of you have helped me on this journey, and I want to thank everyone who helped make this year so very special. John, thank you for being a solid source of support, of advice, great sounding board, hysterically funny, and a dear friend. You will be an exceptional president. Dory, I wish for you the very best in what lies ahead. Please know, as you know, I will always be there for you. You will be incredible. Christian, my presidential partner and the best Young Lawyers Division president I have ever seen. You are tireless, enthusiastic, and creative. Catherine, I love you, but I made you convention chair, okay? You are, Christian, you are, she was distracting me. Christian, let's talk about Christian. Christian, you are tireless, enthusiastic, and creative. We have become close friends, and as good as this past year has been for you, this one coming up is going to be your greatest adventure. To the Board of Governors, the selfless, hardworking group of superstar volunteers who put in hundreds of hours away from their practices and their families to dedicate themselves to the betterment of our profession. You are my second family, and I will miss seeing you. To the Florida Bar staff, more than 300 strong, they're the backbone of this organization, and make it work every day. The dynamic duo of Rosalind Scott, my right hand, and of course, Executive Director Josh Doyle, they are always ready to assist with absolutely everything I needed and help everyone all the time, no questions asked. To the past presidents of the Florida Bar, thank you for always being there for me with your guidance, your counsel, your experience, and your perspective. I am proud to join your number. I am so fortunate to work with incredible, brilliant lawyers, my partners at Diamond, Kaplan, and Rothstein. Thank you so much for your constant support and your love throughout this year and every day. My associate Tyler, my assistant Kelly, you made it work every day. This is Kelly's my last day as president and her last day as my assistant. She's moving to Lakeland, and I am going to miss you so very much. Thank you for making it through the year with me. I have a very close and loving family and wonderful friends. They help make this work for me. My husband, Scott, is my rock and my best friend, my former law partner, and my favorite judge. My girls, Talia and Becca. Talia can't be here today. She's in New York in her show, but my youngest, Becca, is here. I love you. So today you're my favorite. Thank you for being here. Don't tell your sister. Thank you to my mom who's here, Rose, my best friend, Amy, my other friends who are here, my extended family. You have always understood how important this work is to me. I love you all so much. Finally, I thank all of you for welcoming me into your communities, across the state for emailing, calling, asking questions, and getting engaged in your bar. People thrive on genuine connections. We are part of one community. We are all in this together, and we must be here for one another. It has been the honor of my life to serve as president of the Florida Bar. We don't remember days, we remember moments, and I've enjoyed every moment. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. And now I'd like to recognize Leadership Academy Class 6. Could our Leadership Academy class please stand and be recognized? Are they not here? I'd now like to have the 2019-2020 YLD board members come forward to be sworn in. Past President Mandown said you all don't look that young, okay? It's a big board. It's a huge board. Okay.
All right. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm to uphold, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, the Florida Constitution, the rules regulating the Florida Bar, and the bylaws of the Young Lawyers Division. And I further agree to carry out to the best of my ability all responsibilities pertaining to my office. So help me God. Congratulations.
Thank you, Chief. I have known this next speaker for about 27 or so years, and given the fact that I've known him for 27 or so years, I'm a little concerned. But I'd like to invite past President Greg Coleman to come forward and introduce the incoming president of the Young Lawyers Division. Past President Greg Coleman.
Good morning, Madam President, and thank you so much for providing me the opportunity here today to give part 2 of the State of the Bar address. So,
No. This is not your job. No, you're supposed to introduce Santo. This is no.
my
you've
comments,
already done this. You've already done that.
they're down to 45 minutes.
No. Do you see what time it is? These people want to
okay.
get out of here. Okay.
And I guess I better do this. Chief Justice candidate, members of the Supreme Court, President Suskauer, almost President Stewart, soon to be President Dory Foster Morales, friends, family, Young Lawyers Division representatives, and Santo. Now, just to be clear, it is Santo. It is not Santo. It is not Santos. So since we're going to be with him for a year, we're going to have a little exercise, okay? When I count to 3, we're all going to say Santo. 1, 2, 3. Santo. All right, well, that was pretty good. Justice Labarga was a little nasally. We'll work on that, Justice. I actually wrote 2 introductions for Santo. One contains some humorous anecdotes, some stories. The second one a little more serious. Believe it or not, those of you that know me will be surprised, and I'm going to go with the more serious one, the second alternative. And that's because the world we live in right now, and certainly the legal world in which we work, is evolving and changing at a pace more rapid than any of us could have ever anticipated. And it's going to have an extreme and disproportionate effect on our young lawyers' friends. A lot of lawyers are already being affected by it, but not the old lawyers like Jay White. You know, he's over the hill, so it won't affect him. But what they are doing is so critical for the practice. At this crucial time in the Florida Bar's 70-year history, I can think of no person more prepared and suitable for the position of Young Lawyers Division President than Santo Deganji. Now, I was only provided 3 minutes to introduce Santo, which I could have spent an hour. It's self-imposed Josh Doyle deadlines. Thank you, Josh. And now I'm violating the 3 minutes by talking about the 3 minutes and practicing Santo's name. But he is probably one of the most unique and special people I've ever known. I'm going to highlight 3 of his very many great qualities here for you today. And those 3 qualities are loyalty, dedication, and honor. I'm going to start with the last one first, honor. Honor is maintaining a code of conduct which includes the critical elements of valor, chivalry, honesty, and compassion. Thank you, Wikipedia. Santo is an honorable man. He is humble, he is quiet, yet a very powerful leader. He's respectful, he's open to others and their views, and he listens. He is a consensus builder, and he is honest as Abraham Lincoln. Compassion is one of Santo's greatest traits. He's a compassionate person that truly goes out of his way to assist others, not to be recognized because it's the right thing to do. He is simply the epitome of professionalism and civility. He doesn't simply talk about these words. He believes them in his core, and he lives them every day. Honor is not just something the military embraces. We embrace it as well, and Santo is a man of honor. Dedication. For whatever reason, when I envision dedication as it relates to Santo, I have that vision in my head of that little dog that clamps onto the bottom of your pants and simply won't let go. Although this analogy wouldn't work completely unless it were one of those hairless dogs, you know. I couldn't help it. If Santo believes in something, he simply does not let go. He does not let obstacles get in his way, and he finds his way to work around whatever is hindering him from his goal. And dedication's a hard trait to embrace because it goes hand in hand with hard work. Santo will not be outworked. He simply puts his head down and gets the job done with efficiency and the highest degree of quality. Dedication doesn't just apply to his bar work. Santo is a dedicated practicing attorney with our firm, a phenomenal lawyer. He's dedicated to his bar work as the officer of the Young Lawyers Division and a family man. And I'd be remiss without mentioning his dedication to those god-awful orange and blue Florida Gators. Just as Polston gets it. He's a double Gator, by the way. So this brings me to loyalty, the third trait. This is one that is near and dear to my heart, as personally I have always believed loyalty to be one of the most important qualities a person can possess. Santo is a loyal man. He is loyal to his beautiful, wonderful, intelligent wife, Stephanie, his mother, known as Nona, to his sons, Giuseppe, little Zepp, a future rock and roll guitar player, and George, his younger brother, his brother Luigi, who's also here, and the rest of his extended family, friends, and colleagues. He's also very loyal to the memory of his father, who was a successful attorney in Sicily before immigrating to the United States, sacrificing his own career in Italy to give his family a better life in the States. Santo lost his father when he was 9 years old, but I feel his presence here today, Santo. So I've talked to you about Santo's three greatest qualities, and now that I've passed my 3-minute limit, sorry Josh, I will simply end where I began. Santo is a highly unique individual. Those of you who are fortunate enough to know him well undoubtedly love everything about him as a lawyer, a husband, a father, a person. He exemplifies every positive quality we look for, and we are all blessed not only to have him in our lives, but to be leading one of the largest, most significant, most critical Young Lawyers divisions in the country, and that is our Florida YLD. Santo is loyal to the Young Lawyers Division. His constituents of the 107,000 lawyers of the state, he understands and comprehends the many challenges we're facing today in this wonderful branch of government. His loyalty to the profession, the bar, to the citizens of the state of Florida, and of course to you, Justice Candidate, and to the members of the Supreme Court, will shine through his term as president. I'm looking forward to your progress, my good friend. Chief Justice Candidate, I would like to now present you with a man who exemplifies honor, dedication, and loyalty. The next president of the Young Lawyers Division of the Florida Bar, Santo DeGangi.
Thank you so much, Greg, for your kind and mainly true words. Before we get sworn in, I would like to take a moment to introduce Adam White, who is the incoming president-elect of the Young Lawyers Division. Adam is a partner at the law firm of Emanuel, Shepherd, and Condon in Pensacola. There are three things I would like to share about Adam that everyone knows shortly after getting to know him. 1, Adam is a huge Missouri fan, and probably the only Missouri fan in Florida. Go Gators. 2, Adam is a harder worker than you. He has been the hardest working member of our board over the last several years, and when he's assigned a task, he doesn't just complete it, he does it enthusiastically and exceptionally. And 3, and most important, Adam is a consummate family man. As much as Adam loves the YLD in Missouri, there is nothing in this world he loves more than his wife Katrina and his children Elliot and Peyton. Adam is a wonderful friend, and my family could not be more excited about sharing the coming year with his family. Joining them on stage is my wife and much better half, Stephanie, who is my world, and my 2 children, Giuseppe with the hair, and George.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Santo Di Ganji,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
to uphold, protect, and defend
to uphold, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Florida Constitution,
the Florida Constitution,
the rules regulating the Florida Bar,
the rules regulating the Florida Bar,
and the bylaws of the Young Lawyers Division.
and the bylaws of the Young Lawyers Division.
And I further agree
And I further agree
to carry out to the best of my ability
to carry out to the best of my ability
all responsibilities pertaining to my office.
all responsibilities pertaining to my office.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Good Beth.
Chief Justice Candidate, President Suskauer, President-elect Stewart, President-elect Designate Foster Morales, distinguished guests, family, and friends. I am honored to be here in front of all of you, serving in this role on a board I hold in such high regard. Our task is daunting, yet our spirits are high as we face the many challenges that meet young lawyers as they are sworn into the Florida Bar. This is going to be an exciting year. Michelle, John, and Dory, the YLD cannot thank you enough for giving us a seat at such an important table this past year. The YLD will continue to assist the Florida Bar and the Board of Governors whenever called upon to do so. John, I am thrilled to be working with you this coming year, and I hope you enjoy working with me almost as much as you enjoy picking out socks in the morning. Almost. Young lawyers accomplished a lot this year. Led at the helm by the great Christian George, the stigma-free YLD campaign was an incredible success. From the moment of Christian's speech last year, he has tirelessly worked to promote mental health in our profession. There is an old proverb that says, "A society grows great when old men plant trees they know they shall never sit in the shade of." I like this not only because it reminds me and Christian that he's older than me, but also because it shows the lasting effects this initiative will be felt by in Florida for years. This year, I have had increasingly more conversations with men and women on the pressures of this job and how they cope by finding professional help. What once may have been seen as unavoidable baggage in being a lawyer is now being approached with creative solutions for the mind and body. In another 50 years, when Christian and I are hopefully long retired, I hope that young lawyers being sworn into the bar know how to better take care of themselves and that satisfaction in this profession is at an all-time high. In 2070, they may not give you credit, my friend, but you can smile knowing that you lit a spark, and we will continue to fan the flame from which others will feel the warmth for decades to come. I hope to keep up this momentum started by Christian and rolled into this year's initiatives. Bar service is important to maintain a high standard for our noble profession. Yet, in its very name of service, there is irony in that government and public sector lawyers, our profession's public servants, are often not involved in or even excluded from the process. I recently listened to a sermon, and the pastor commented, "If service is beneath you, then leadership is beyond you." I began my career as a trial court law clerk at the 15th Judicial Circuit here in West Palm Beach, Florida. Wet behind the ears and with no solid path in mind, I was under the wing of Amy Borman, former general counsel of the 15th Circuit, who's here today. Amy came to know me and saw potential that I didn't even see in myself. I attribute her mentorship to the success I have achieved these last 10 years. Amy, during your tenure, you guided many young lawyers to their future, and you can count me as one of them. Amy encouraged us to get plugged into our communities and to engage in bar service. She exemplified precisely that service in her leadership role. Being involved in the Palm Beach County Bar Association, who is here today, my home bar, showed me what lawyers in my town and around the state were dealing with whether it be student debt, trying to find a job, or even setting out on their own. Yet most voluntary bar meetings and events, statewide and nationally, are attended almost exclusively by private practitioners. Everyone should have a voice, but are all voices truly being heard? Are we listening to the needs of government and public sector lawyers? Are we providing sufficient resources and programming to them? Are we being mindful about ensuring that those lawyers who interact the most with the general public on a daily basis are part of the discussion regarding the future of our bar? Unfortunately, this population of lawyers is not adequately represented and often feels as though it has been forgotten. We hope to change that this year by bringing government and public sector lawyers into the fold. Celia Thacker-Dorn and Randall Richardson will be heading our initiative to reach out to these lawyers, beginning with government lawyers. Both Celia and Randy have a decade of experience as being government lawyers, and have already begun the process of planning the first ever Young Government Lawyer Summit taking place on November 1st in Orlando. Our goal is to bring government stakeholders from across Florida together in one room to discuss topics directly impacting young government lawyers. My charge to government leaders around the state is to attend our summit so that we can work towards solving real issues facing the attorneys you supervise. This initiative is a natural evolution from the Stigma-Free WildD campaign because government lawyers are working 70-hour weeks with huge caseloads and enormous responsibility in their hands. As an assistant state attorney in Miami-Dade under the great Catherine Fernandez-Rundle, I work with the best trial lawyers in the state, both at my office and the public defender's office. Regrettably, their compensation doesn't reflect that status, and there are no dollar signs added to their checks after a big win. They simply nod and go back to work. Working in the public sector isn't due to a lack of choices. It is a calling. It is a noble path and possibly the truest example of what a lawyer should look like. So why aren't more of them here? Let's change that. The WildD will also be tackling other tough issues this year. Iris Elijah, Sierra Willis, and their law school committee are diligently working to restructure the former law student division into a new and more effective entity that will better address the needs of law students, law schools, and the bar. G.C. Murray, Nick Zabresny, and the Pro Bono Community Service Committee will be focused on making the WildD and its affiliates more community service oriented. Anika Ashton, Mike Sasso, and the Inclusion and Equality Committee will be working toward a joint event with the Leadership Academy, and while also ensuring WildD programming continues to maintain diverse speakers and perspectives. We will also continue our march with fall toward installing lactation rooms in every courthouse in the state and advocating for the parental leave rule. We need to take care of our babies, and there is no room for stigma there. It was difficult to just name those initiatives because all 18 of our committees are incredibly committed to the work we do. We are anxious and excited to get to work. No man is an island, and I am certainly no exception. Countless people have brought me to this position, and I would be remiss to not take this moment to thank a few of them. My father, Giuseppe, was a lawyer in Sicily before he came to the United States, and I wanted to be just like him. He died when I was 9 years old, but I pursued his career with single-mindedness until achieving this goal in 2009. He was the inspiration, but my mother Rose was the engine to that pursuit. I am only now starting to comprehend the sacrifices she made as a single parent. I love you, Mom. Thank you also to my Thank you also to my best friend and brother Luigi, who always reminds me to fight the good fight. Big thank you to my Aunt Chechi and my Nonna, who are here today, and for everything you've done over the years for us. My late grandfather Luigi passed away 7 years ago, and while I wish he was here today, I know he and my dad are here in spirit. And my in-laws, George and Lynn, came all the way from Maryland to be here. Your presence means everything to me. Thank you to my law firm family, Critton, Luthier, and Coleman, who gave me the opportunity to come back to my home to West Palm Beach to practice. I have learned so much from Bob Critton and Mark Luthier, but my last 6 years at the firm have been working primarily under the tutelage of former WildD president and Florida Bar president Greg Coleman. Greg, every day I am lucky to learn from and collaborate with you. You push me to be my professional best, and I am forever grateful for the opportunity and freedom that you gave me to serve on this board. And to my secretary, Carol, who keeps me sane, don't ever leave me, please. To my Young Lawyers Division Board of Governors family, you all astound me. You are the most brilliant and hardworking people I have ever met. You are all juggling full-time law careers, have extended family demands at home, and yet every week you put in extra hours into this board with passion and devotion. I don't know how I tricked you into letting me lead you this coming year, but I vow to do my best to steer this ship with steadfastness and dignity. And of course, Marshall Cassidy Award winner Tom Miller, you are the steady hand that guides the Wild D year after year. Without you, this ship would have sunk long ago. Thank you, board members and Tom, for all you have taught me and how you have loved my wife and boys. Most importantly, to my wife and my soulmate, Stephanie, without you, none of this would be possible. Stephanie has a master's degree in social work and has the biggest heart of anyone I have ever met. She is a beacon of selflessness, compassion, and faith. Traveling through life with you by my side has made me a better lawyer, a better father, and a better man. I thank God every day for bringing you into my life and for being the mother of my children. I love you. And my two boys, Giuseppe and George, I one day hope to be as sweet as George, but that probably won't happen. And Giuseppe, just because you have that gorgeous hair doesn't mean one day it won't look like this. But for now, enjoy it. Your future will be here faster than you know. For the rest of us, our future is now. Let's make sure we do our part to serve our young lawyers who are the future of this profession. Thank you.
Santo, thank you so much for those wonderful, wonderful remarks, and we really look forward to an incredible year under your leadership. I'd now like to call up the Florida Bar Board of Governors to be sworn in for the 2019-2020 year. Please come on up.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm. To uphold, protect, and defend. The Constitution of the United States. The Florida Constitution. And the rules regulating the Florida Bar. And I further agree to carry out to the best of my ability all responsibilities pertaining to my office. So help me God. Congratulations to you all.
It is now my honor and privilege to introduce the Honorable, very honorable, Senior U.S. District Judge Patricia Seitz, who will introduce President-elect Dory Foster Morales. Judge Seitz is a trailblazer, an inspiration, a mentor, and the first woman president of the Florida Bar. So it is truly, truly an honor to have her here to introduce the 7th woman president of the Florida Bar. Judge Seitz.
What an honor and a delight to be able to introduce Dory Foster Morales, your incoming president-elect. With Dory, the bar gets a superstar lawyer, leader, and human being who will be the perfect complement for your incoming president, Jon Stewart. They will be a champion team for our 107,000 Florida Bar members. And let me explain why. Since she was a little girl, Dory has displayed those natural talents and inclinations that make her the star as a lawyer, leader, and a human being. Her childhood nickname was Little General. Because she was an effective strategist, selflessly caring for her troops, then her family and friends, to better any situation. With her JD in hand, she became an Environmental Protection Agency regulatory lawyer, first in DC and then New York. When she decided to return to Miami, her fireball interview with Kathy Fernandez-Rundle made Janet Reno decide to hire her as an assistant state attorney. She tried over the next 5 years, 65 jury trials to verdict. For those years, she was admired by her fellow prosecutors, the staff, defense counsel. She was recognized for her honor, her effectiveness, and she was fearless. But they also liked her selflessness and her sense of humor. The life of Dory, Justice Warrior, was transformed, however, when her 3-year-old firstborn, Nora, was diagnosed with autism. Being the individual that Dory is, she immediately took a leave of absence from the state attorney's office to ensure that Nora had every support and service that Nora needed to become the wonderful young woman she is today. And because Dory never does anything half-heartedly, she submerged herself in the issues, becoming a passionate advocate for improving the lives of all children with autism, and she continues today as a tireless advocate and fundraiser. But as you know, Dory is also practical. She knew her new normal required that she move from the public sector to private practice. The perfect match for Dory was family law. First, she had the trial skills. Second, she had the economics background. See, her undergraduate degree, also from Florida, was with honors in economics. Third, she has a gift for quickly analyzing issues from all angles to solve intractable problems without judgment. It takes a special gift to be a great family lawyer. At the top of that list of gifts is impeccable integrity. But you also need to have the ability to understand and care for human beings at an emotionally low point, while counseling them to move forward constructively for their and their children's sake. For over 20 years, Dory has been that great lawyer, and she heads her respected family law practice, which is most successful, that has 6 lawyers, all women. She is a Martindale AV-rated, board-certified family lawyer by both the Florida Bar and the National Board of Trial Advocacy. And she has been tapped by the 2 recognized and respected invitation-only fellowships in family law, the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers and the International Academy of Family Lawyers. When 2008 triggered a low point for lawyers, Dory was inspired to seek election to the Florida Bar Board of Governors, to use her talents to promote lawyers' well-being, physically, mentally, and financially. From her little general days, she knew and understood that if you take good care of your troops, here our lawyers, then our lawyers can serve their clients and the public as our profession has been called to do in our democracy. On the board, her fellow governors know the significant value that she adds. When she speaks, people listen because she is thoughtful, articulate, and consistently proposes responsible solutions to promote the common good. She has served on the board's executive committee for the past 4 years. She is a collaborator who is able to unify, empower, and promote others to do even more than they realize they could accomplish. An example is she spearheaded for the bar the critically important Lawyers' Mental Health and Wellness Initiative started under President Michael Heiger and continued under President Michelle Suskauer. That she drew no opposition when she finally decided to seek the presidency is a testament to the high esteem with which the board regards her. Dory is smart, savvy. She is tough, yet sensitive and caring. She comes to any project with a deep well of energy that is contagious. She has a big smile and an even bigger laugh, and always sees the humor in a situation, and with that gift of humor is able to diffuse any volatile circumstance and calm everyone around her. However, Dory is more than a fantastic lawyer, human being, and leader. She is also a great mom to Nora and her son, PJ, and she is the love of the life of her husband, Jimmy. Dory will be an amazing president for the Florida Bar after she ensures that John has the most successful year ever. May I present to you your president-elect, Dory Foster Morales.
Please repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Dory Foster Morales,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
to uphold, protect, and defend
to uphold, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Florida Constitution,
the Florida Constitution,
and the rules regulating the Florida Bar.
and the rules regulating the Florida Bar.
And I further agree
And I further agree
to carry out to the best of my ability
to carry out to the best of my ability
all responsibilities pertaining to my office.
all responsibilities pertaining to my office.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so
God
much.
bless you.
Okay, the big moment is coming. That was a pretty big moment. Congratulations, Dory. So the big moment everyone has been waiting for, which is the introduction of the president by past President May Downs. So we welcome past President May Downs. We have been waiting with bated breath for this introduction.
Usually you say thank you for that generous, kind, and wonderful introduction, but I don't know what the deal with this lighting is. It's very dim up here. I guess I'll have a margarita on the rocks with salt. So for those of you who may be new to this process, this General Assembly, and I'm going to guess that's the great majority of people in the room because nobody ever comes back to this event without service of process. This is the part of the event where the incoming bar president has somebody very close to them, a mentor, as Greg introduced his colleague, maybe a kindergarten teacher, a judge, and that person comes up here and tells you how fabulous the incoming bar president here. So you can imagine my surprise when I got a message from Jon Stewart that he wanted me to introduce him, because you see, I don't know Jon Stewart. In fact, my first reaction upon reading the message was, how did he get this number? I figured I'd probably met him somewhere along the way at a bar convention, as I always say to everybody I see at a bar convention. Yes, of course I've met you. I think it was at the bar convention. But, and apparently John knew me, but of course that probably just meant that he had seen me pull an ashtray, a tea set, an armadillo, the Mueller report, a laptop, and Josh Doyle from my shirt during a Board of Governors roast. Clearly, I had some work to do. So I did what anybody would do in my situation, and that is I called Judge Scales, had him sign a FISA warrant, and a couple of OPD cops went down to Vero Beach to steal John's journal. It didn't get off to a good start because, like everyone else in the world, we couldn't figure out where the hell Vero Beach was. But ultimately, we figured it out, and we took possession of that journal. Now, as an aside, I'm sure some of you are thinking, how in the world does 3rd DCA Judge Scales have jurisdiction to sign a FISA warrant? But the rest of the people in the room, those who've read his opinions, will know clearly he'll sign anything. So, armed with John Stewart, right? It's John Stewart. Armed with his journal, I was able to familiarize myself, not just with whoever John Stewart is, but also with little tidbits about the Vero Beach and the Florida Bar. And it was fascinating reading. And you can really discover anything you need to know about somebody if you read their journal. So what does John Stewart think about technology? An issue we hear a lot about here at the Florida Bar. Well, we could turn to the entry I made a note of for September 3rd, 2012, back in the dark ages, comparatively, of the Florida Bar's use of technology. And John wrote that day, "Today was special. Scott Hawkins filmed what he claimed was the first ever video message to bar members from the president of the Florida Bar. Unfortunately, instead of uploading his video message to the website, Hawkins accidentally emailed to all bar members a porn video that he had pirated called Pulp Friction, and which, proving what I've said for years, the only real point or the highest and best use of the internet is to confuse Scott Hawkins. Want to know what John Stewart, by the way, this is apparently John Stewart. Want to know what John Stewart thinks about reciprocity? You know, whether lawyers from other places should come practice law in the state of Florida? Well, here's what he wrote October 18th, 2014. And I quote, "Abedin just let us know that he wants to let 12,000 New Jersey lawyers into Florida so they compete with us. Also today, not coincidentally, Justice Lewis's face created a new color. I call it Fred Red." I think Abedin may catch a lot of flack on this one. Just wait till they find out he's in this country illegally. In all seriousness, I love John Stewart. And I've gotten to know him the way a lot of you have, which is watching him and seeing him and deriving the benefit of the hard work, because that's the thing that defines John, like it defines great lawyers and great judges. People who are great at what they do work hard. They prepare, they read their materials, they take their jobs seriously. And that's how I came to know John, by watching him and seeing him do the hard work that is necessary to be good at anything, including voluntary bar work. John has done every job at the Florida Bar that I can think of. He was YLD president, hey, keep it down over there, and has served on and chaired every single significant board committee for the Board of Governors. He ran unopposed for bar president because the Florida Bar members and the Board of Governors thought correctly that he would do a good job representing our profession and representing the other stakeholders. They knew he would act with dignity and integrity and always be prepared with ample doses of humor, most of which, I need to warn you, will be highly inappropriate. John approaches his work at the Florida Bar, his work with clients, and his work with others very seriously, but he doesn't take himself too seriously. And he doesn't take the bar too seriously. At the end of the day, the work we do is very important, but sometimes it works a little better if you can remember that we're all just doing a job. And I think all of us can agree that the Florida Bar could use a healthy dose of self-awareness and maybe not taking itself quite so seriously every moment, and maybe even a little less use of the word I. John probably knows more about bar work than anybody in this room because he has done that work for an extended period of time. All of that work aside, and all the many accolades you'll see in the article released today about him in the Florida Bar Journal, what John is most proud of is raising his daughter, Mary Claire, MC, as a single father. And from personal experience, I can tell you there is nothing harder in the world than being a single parent. It's the hardest job in the world. Well, with the exception of being the executive director of the Florida Bar during Michelle Suskauer's presidency. I want to share one more entry from John's journal before we give it back to him and obtain a complete release. And I'd like a notary to join us up here on the dais, if you don't mind. June 16, 2019. Yesterday was a great day. MC and I turned off our phones and spent the day together. We got ices at the Vero Beach Mall, which is what we call the downtown Circle K. We discussed how hot this summer has been, how Korean boy bands are kind of overrated, and how few people have ever heard of Vero Beach. We talked a lot about this upcoming year and the challenges we'll both face. And before I put her to bed, MC told me, "Dad, I know I'll be super busy with school this year, and I know you'll be almost as busy running the nation's third largest bar association. But I promise, Dad, to find the time to help you if you need me." I kissed her goodnight and she went sound asleep. I too went sound asleep, knowing that I would be taking MC up on her offer and reassured that my priorities were in the right place. Yesterday was a great day. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you John Stewart, the next president of the Florida Bar.
Please repeat after me. I state your name.
I, John Mitchell Stewart,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
to uphold, protect, and defend
to uphold, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Florida Constitution,
the Florida Constitution,
and the rules regulating the Florida Bar.
and the rules regulating the Florida Bar.
And I further agree
And I further agree
to carry out to the best of my ability
to carry out to the best of my ability
all responsibilities pertaining to my office.
all responsibilities pertaining to my office.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. God bless you.
So good morning. It is still morning. That's a good sign for a General Assembly. 2 out of 3 of those journal entries were actually true, but I'm not going to say which 2 they were. Man, despite your introduction of me, you have been a true friend. An unbelievable leader of both within and outside the Florida Bar. You helped me along this path and provided sage counsel, and you are the quintessential example of what it means to be a true leader. I'm so grateful of your willingness to introduce me today. I want to also thank Juliet Rulek for that beautiful and inspirational invocation. Juliet is a former president of the Young Lords Division Board of Governors, although apparently not Michelle's favorite. I was also a president of the Young Lawyers Division Board of Governors, and has been a great friend and mentor to me, and I very much appreciate you sharing the stage on this special occasion. I want to thank my mom and dad, who are both here in the audience, for always supporting and encouraging me. And while they always told me that I could achieve anything, I'm not sure that they actually believed it. I say this because for the last 3 months leading up to this General Assembly, as we have come closer and closer to the day, they've kept saying, "This is amazing, we just can't believe it." I also have more family and friends here, including my brother and his wife, Will and Carolyn Stewart, my niece and nephew, Lucy and Henry, along with friends and family from around the country that I'd like to thank you for joining me today on this special occasion. And as Mayanne aptly pointed out, I want to give a special thanks to my daughter, Mary Claire, who goes by MC. In order for anyone to take on the role as president of the Florida Bar, there are sacrifices that must be made. And the person taking this position is prepared to personally make those sacrifices. But it also means sacrifices from your family. While many of you may think that my teenage daughter will be happy to have her old man out of the house and on the road for days and weeks at a time, she has sacrificed as much or more than anyone for me in this process. She's a beautiful young woman, both inside and out, and I very much love and appreciate you, MC. I want to thank my firm, Rossway Swan, for standing behind me and for continuing to maintain my office despite the fact that I'm rarely, if ever, there. Just one more year, I promise, because they cut you off immediately after this convention next year. I'd like to just take a very brief moment of personal privilege, and sadly, the firm lost our paralegal who had been with us for quite a number of years, unexpectedly and far too young just this past Saturday. It hit us all quite hard, and I appreciate everyone in my firm, every single one of my 21 lawyers is here today for soldiering on to be here, and I'd just like to have a very brief moment of silence for Aaron Arena. So thank you for that. I'd like to thank my paralegal, Karen Kelly. Somehow, despite her regular paying job at the firm, she still manages to keep me on task, on schedule, going to the right city, fielding phone calls that I do not want to take, and assuring that I'll do the best job for the Florida Bar. I was going to thank Santo, but I don't know, he didn't see the Times Agenda, which said brief remarks by the incoming YLD president, so he took up the time that I was going to have to thank him. But I really sincerely look forward to working with Santo. It's really serendipitous, actually, for us. Greg Coleman, who he mentioned as his mentor, which I do worry about him a little bit on that fact, but Greg Coleman was my first YLD president, and for Santo and I to be able to share this together, really sort of along with Greg, it's really special. Michelle, we had a really remarkable year. I immensely enjoyed watching you lead the bar. You've served our bar and our profession well and with distinction. You should be very proud of all of your accomplishments. I appreciate you for allowing me to observe and learn along the way. I'm excited for you, for your next chapter, and I'm certainly going to miss you. Dory, I'm thrilled to work with you next year. I'm a little bit nervous about the title, Little General. I don't understand all of the ranks, but I'm fairly confident that you have to wait a year for that title. We've been friends a long time, and we'll definitely work hard, and we will have fun in the process. I am confident, as Judge Seitz said, that we will make a great team, and I'm sure that you will make me a better leader and a better president. Chief Justice Kennedy and members of the court, we thank you for being here. We thank you for all of the support that you offer our bar. It's really an awesome experience, especially for me, for a small-town lawyer in Vero Beach, which is about an hour and 45 minutes north 95 and then a little bit east, to get to work so closely with you. We very much appreciate all of your support and all that you and the court do for us. Although Justice Lagoa did put a little pressure on me. She told me that if I kept my speech under 5 minutes, that the Supreme Court would actually do a waive. I was hoping not actually to have to see that. Actually, she said John, and I said, yes, Barbara. That's not actually true. I said, yes, Justice Lagoa. Please keep it short. So we're doing our best. I want to also mention that it's really been the highlight of my career. I've been doing this since 1999, to be able to work both on the Board of Governors and serve as president for the Young Lawyers Division, and with what those of us who've been on the YLD affectionately call the OLD, my Board of Governors. Without exception, all these individuals are truly dedicated servant leaders. They make the bar better. They made me a better lawyer, a better person, a better leader, and I'm going to rely on both of you, both the YLD and my board members, heavily during the next year, and thank you for being here for me. So I stand here before you today as a representation of a typical Florida lawyer. I'm a third-generation lawyer from Indian River County, and in the years before me, as well as during my 22 years in practice, change has impacted the profession, and the Florida Bar has led the way in sculpting that change. That change is now more accelerated and more pervasive than ever before in our long history. The pace of change can sometimes cause fear rather than action. We need to rise above the fear. Non-decisions are still decisions. They are just guaranteed to be bad ones. We need to once again lead the way and be the architects of this change so that we may better serve the public and benefit our members and protect the traditional core values of our profession. Collectively, my grandfather, my father, and myself have witnessed many changes in the world at large. Many of the changes were and are being driven by innovation and waves of advancing technology. The practice of law, our beloved profession, was and is being carried along these currents rather rapidly. I grew up in Vero Beach, loving the water, swimming, surfing, skiing, fishing, and anyone who has spent time around the waters knows that it can be a very powerful and occasionally destructive force. In lightning quick moments, floodwaters can sometimes devastate or destroy entire communities. And as well, slowly, over time, water is powerful enough to carve deep canyons, even in rock and stone. Traditionally, the bar has been in a very strong position to withstand the effects such as these. It's a bulwark against the powerful waves of change, standing firm in the protection of the public and preserving the highest standards of professionalism and civility. But the water is powerful. Water finds a way into crevices and can carve out new tributaries when it finds an immovable object. The legal profession is facing these powerful forces of change, and the bar cannot simply be an immovable object observing as change carves new paths around our profession. The question as to how to navigate these changes is at the forefront of my mind and will be the focus of the upcoming year. Change is not new to Florida lawyers or new to the Florida Bar. In 1949, the year my grandfather passed away, the Supreme Court of Florida gave the nod to the bar officials to proceed in forming a unified bar. The forward leaders of the bar and the Florida Supreme Court at that time believed that only through a unified organization could all Florida lawyers receive uniform education on changes in the law and legal procedures. Additionally, a unified bar would pave way for a uniform system of discipline for unethical lawyers and to assure the public that only those with the highest ethical standards would be allowed to practice. The Florida Supreme Court opinion, which created the Florida Bar, stated in part, and I quote, "Growing populations and changing conditions necessarily give rise to social and economic complexities that require wisdom and discretion to cope with. The bar should be the first sector of the population to comprehend this and order its house to meet such emergencies." Since 1949, the Florida Bar has grown from 3,758 members to, as you heard, over 100,000. And the population of the state of Florida has likewise grown from almost 2.7 million at that time to almost 21.7 million residents currently. With this explosion in growth, the court properly predicted that we would face changing social and economic complexities, such as educating and assisting our members and improving their overall health and wellness. promoting diversity and inclusion at all levels of the legal and justice systems, continuing to work with the court, the legislature, and the governor to ensure a fully funded judicial branch, and determining the best strategies to address online and alternative legal service providers and help members adapt to this ever-changing legal environment, which will be the primary focus of my remarks. Fast forward from 1949, 20 years to 1970, when my father was admitted to the Florida bar. By then, the legal profession had grown to about 12,000 active members and 6.7 million Floridians. The 1970s solidified the Florida bar as a national leader in applying innovative technology to assist the public and its members. Those visionary leaders established the interest on lawyer trust accounts, programs to fund legal aid. Cameras entered the courtroom in Florida in the 1970s as well. Further, in response to the 1977 U.S. Supreme Court ruling legalizing lawyer advertising, Florida's first lawyer advertising rules were adopted. While we can now look at those Florida firsts with enormous pride, skeptics initially greeted them both reluctantly. As the world was growing and changing, the legal profession found that it too had to look for new ways to serve the public and its members. In the 22 years since I was admitted, cameras in the courtroom, IOTA, and advertising rules are just a standard part of our profession. Now, 70 years later since inception of the Florida Bar as a unified establishment, the Florida Bar is called again, once again, to be a leader in shaping the practice of law for both the lawyers and the public. We are well positioned to successfully ride this wave because of the work, studies, and discussions that we have put in the last decade. Together with the court and other justice partners, the Bar has started focusing more on access to justice, particularly for the growing number of Floridians who don't qualify for legal aid and at the same time don't turn to lawyers to resolve their legal problems. In this milieu, technology has been playing a central role in how people find and procure legal services. With that increasing reliance, concerns naturally arose that these new ways of doing business would threaten the traditional practice of law. But there is an inescapable fact which the legal profession must face. Today, there are billions of dollars, that's billions with a B, worth of unmet legal needs in the United States. There are millions of people and small businesses who can afford to pay lawyers, but who choose not to. Legal technology companies are shaping the legal marketplace. These companies do not have to comply with regulations which are meant for lawyers, such as advertising, conflicts of interest, and fee-sharing rules. And this lack of regulation puts lawyers at a competitive disadvantage. If we believe that those in need of legal services are better served by lawyers, then we need to make sure that our lawyers are well positioned to both get and do the work that these Floridians need. We also need to recognize that not every legal solution requires a lawyer. And where lawyers are unable or unwilling to serve that legal need, we must assure that the public can find those legal services that are properly regulated for their protection. So here we are now in 2019, almost a fifth of the way through the 21st century, and the overarching question for the Florida Bar is, how do we find ways of working with these other legal service providers in the broader marketplace to protect our traditional core values while striving to provide access to justice for all? As we move forward as the architects of our legal future, we must bring these online companies under our umbrella, providing the regulatory framework for these ancillary legal services and leveling the playing field for our members. The public we serve and the Florida Bar has a profound constitutional duty to protect, rely on us to provide a majority of the legal services and to regulate the greater legal marketplace, not only to ensure the access to justice for all, but to assure that the public is protected in the process. Working with companies that agree to high standards through voluntary regulation, I believe we can preserve the core values of our profession and provide this higher level of protection that the public needs. Rest assured that the floodwaters of evolving technology in the legal marketplace are and have been carving paths around us, but we have not ignored these waves of change. We have studied, we have strategized, and we have learned. Now it's time to take our knowledge and make tough decisions, decisions that will shape our practice for decades to come. In my opinion, the discussion of these alternative and online legal service providers and their impact of our profession is the most important discussion we will likely have in the next century. The best solution in this legal marketplace is lawyers plus technology. It's neither lawyers or technology. Computers and advanced technologies are important tools, but only humans can be empathic, sympathetic, and civil. I will close by sharing my favorite quote, which I have to confess I stole from Mayan Downs, which expresses the meaning of lawyers and judges and the rule of law in a civilized society. This quote is from John William Davis, who served as Solicitor General of the United States under President Woodrow Wilson. Mr. Davis stated, "True, we build no bridges, we raise no towers, we construct no engines. We paint no pictures unless as amateurs for our own principal amusement. There is little of all that we can do which the eye of man can see. But we smooth out difficulties, we relieve stress, we correct mistakes, we take up other men's burdens, and by our efforts, we make possible the peaceful life in a peaceful state." It is very important work that we lawyers do. I'm grateful to be a Florida lawyer. I'm humbled and grateful for all the support that I have in this room, for all the kind words, all the words of confidence, and I look forward to working in the year ahead, and I promise not to let your gratitude and your feelings of confidence for me down in the coming year. I thank you for your time and attention. Thank you. And according to my timed agenda, we are adjourned 3 minutes early.